Alright, welcome to the channel. This is Kermit the Streamer. We are doing our favorite leader, Ashok. The reason why I like Ashok is because I like that culture, one. Secondly, I also like that when you choose a Pantheon of Ashok, you get two. And everybody gets the Pantheon in this game, which is rather nice, whereas in older versions of Civilization, religion kind of sucked because it didn't really do anything. Now you could argue that it still kind of doesn't really do anything because the bonuses you get are very small. I always go with this +2 sight. It was crazy broken when the game released, is at +3 sight and +2 for the search and lookout ability, but even still, at +2 sight, it's really lovely. Helps you explore really early and helps you get the best stuff. I take the expansionist attribute point just to make my first settler a fast settler. The other abilities here are not that great, but the special settler that you get is okay. And you know, being able to grow faster means being able to expand faster. Good stuff. Speaking, I like to take this one here. This is what I'm talking about, the unique settler. I'm going to go over a little bit about how important happiness is. It's not critical, but it's what allows you to go over your settlement cap the most effectively in the game. So I want to try to do this game. I want to do this Dharam, Shala, and Bihara in the same district. So I'm going to try to focus on that a little bit. I mean, 10% plus 10% happiness is kind of small, but we can maybe try to maximize this a little bit. I haven't ever really done that, so we'll try it. We're going to play on Deity, which means we're probably going to get our ass handed to us, but we'll give it a shot. There's a long load time here, so I'll just sit here and chat. Haven't gotten to play Path of Exile 2 because I've been very busy with the new job. Doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff. I have to commute quite a ways. I may be moving eventually to address that issue, but it's gonna happen at least about 7-8 months away probably at this point. We shall see. What else? I've gotten real close to recording some music and putting it up. The only issue is I'm pretty sure I'm still mostly working on copyrighting music. I do have some ideas of my own kicking around, but I'm very shy about my stuff. I usually only share it with friends and family, so that may be a thing that changes soon. Try and get this whole YouTube thing started, because the video games ain't doing it. That and I'm not doing it enough. I think I would have to be producing so much more content than I do. And it would have to have some meaning.
The path to glory requires the guidance of a steady hand.
Does not have a whole heck of a lot.
Can Maria, hardy as the Himalayas, become the stewards of the world?
Me out here. This Pura Betara unique unit is actually pretty doggone good too. When I have gotten into some wars, even at higher levels, that +5 combat strength against fortified districts is no joke. You still want to, you can get some cultural stuff that actually boosts the power of, I'm not sure whether it boosts the power of the infantry that you have paired with the Pura Betara, or whether it's a two-way thing where both of the units get stronger when they're alongside some infantry units. But just the combination of those two things makes you able to really knock out some cities in a way that you couldn't normally do. And then you also can get a nice ability where the Puravatara heals units. And I haven't actually experimented with that, whether it happens even if the unit is not trying to actively heal, because that would become insane if it works like that. But I'm not really a warmonger most of the time. I mean, it's funny, I say that, and I guarantee I'll be near a hostile city-state or something, and then I will have to go to war. This city spot is not great. I want to talk about the settlement system just a little bit. You have a settlement cap, so at any given time I can have 3 settlements, and that would mean that I would have a base, like, neutral penalty to my happiness level across my cities. So the way it works is when you found a city on a nice freshwater tile, like this one that we see here, Let's go ahead and do that. We get 5 happiness, just as a default. We get our 5 production, we get, I don't know why I'm getting slightly more food than 5. Probably one of my civilization abilities. Oh yeah, because of the happiness, that's right. You gain some bonus because of your excess happiness. That's why I've got extra food. But if I had settled on, not the red, but the sort of orangey area, I think what would have happened would be that I only got 3 happiness. So, it means I can have 3 cities or settlements. This is more like a settlement limit because it includes cities and it includes towns. So you'll take no negative penalty to your happiness. So the only thing really influencing your happiness is going to be whether or not that city or town has access to fresh water. So blue, good, yellow, bad. And that really doesn't, it really doesn't matter all that much. You should, generally speaking, prioritize good resources like sheep. Production / food resources are really good. I like wine a lot because it does give you a little bit of happiness bump, and then it gives you that plus 10% culture whenever you're celebrating. With a culture like this one that actually kind of gets lots of knock-on effects from being happy, anything else you can add to rewards that you gain from being, generally speaking, a happy society will be a good thing. But generally speaking, I do think you should be settling more for things like gypsum, more for things like wool. Your first camels is huge to making your capital city a production powerhouse. I really like incense, I really like wine, and iron is not bad. Not a big fan of silver, not a big fan of fish, although I'm coming around to things like silver because gold in this game is probably the most useful it's ever been, in my opinion. Most of the time in other versions of Civilization, gold is kind of like a dump stat, if you will, to use borrow a term from RPG role-playing games. It's kind of like this thing that you get that you don't really have any good use for. In this game, I just feel like I'm always buying the slinger or buying buildings in my settlements. And it just seems like gold, first off, you have lots of opportunities to get it, and then also you just lots of really good uses, good things to spend it on. I went with animal husbandry first because I noticed that I have some forested land. Basically, the way I look at it as, if I've got lots of flat land, I'm going to take granary first. If I've got, is it called granary? It's called pottery. I'm going to take pottery first. If I've got lots of forest, I'm going to take animal husbandry first, generally speaking. That's how I look at that decision. You're going to get both of them. You really need both of them. But I do think you should be prioritizing the first one you get based on your actual territory. So back to what I was talking about settlement limits. So you don't start taking a negative hit to your happiness until you get above your settlement limit of 3. So what will happen is, if I settle to 4 cities, every single one of my cities will take a 5 happiness hit to its thing. And, for someplace like my capital that has 7 happiness, that's going to be no big deal. As long as you're in positive happiness, you take no negative effects. But any settlement that has less than 0 happiness will be taking a 2% hit to its production, across all yields, basically, for each negative point of happiness. And they won't be contributing to your general empire as far as celebrations go. So it's not really that big a deal. As a matter of fact, one of the other reasons I like Ashoka is because you can get away with running up to 2 settlements over the settlement limit, and it doesn't really cause too much strife across your empire until you get in a war with somebody and take one of their cities, or you get in wars with multiple people and then you're taking sort of like a double happiness hit from the fact that you're getting war weariness. So that you got to be really careful. You gotta always be thinking about whether or not you should go over your settlement limit. And most of the time, I would say going one over is a hard yes. Like, you should be doing a little bit, you should be pushing a little further than your settlement limit. But going two over does really start to, especially depending on what's going on in your game, it can lead to some pretty sticky, awkward situations. But, that being said, because of our special settler unit, which I want to talk about very briefly, the Nagarika, I believe it's called. So it settles like a normal settlement. You just get a settlement. But as soon as you convert one of your towns into a city that was settled with a Nagarika, it gets a bonus +2 happiness, which is one of those things. All of those little incremental things that you can do to boost your general happiness will make it to where you can get away with being a little bit over your settlement limit and not having it cause too much trouble across your empire. If you did not have that as a benefit, you run the increased risk of having bad stuff happen, like cities revolt and narrative events that do nasty things. Just all sorts of stuff you just don't want to have happen when you're playing a nice game of Civilization 7, where you're trying to out SimCity your opponents at all turns. We're going to go ahead and make a granary right now. So one of the tricks that you can use in this game that's really useful is build on a place that you've already assigned some workers. Because what happens when you do that, you get to immediately put your workers on a different spot. So basically, I just got to where I got to get this gypsum here when I should not have had it yet. I needed to grow for 3 more turns before I could have gotten that gypsum. So what this basically has done for me is it has yielded an extra 6 hammers to my city. Big deal, right? Well, in the early game, every hammer is worth a lot more, because every time you finish something a turn or 2 early, that's a turn or 2 that you get back for the next things you want to build for the entire rest of the game. So it's important. And it's not readily clear how important it is most of the time. So we're going to go ahead, let's see. I'm trying to save up my influence here. I'm hoping that we find us a nice economic city-state. Also, usually if I don't see their troops or their cities or towns, I'm less inclined to be super friendly with them. Just because I've just learned at this point that they're probably going to go to war with you anyway, especially on Deity. And I don't know, maybe I'll change on that over time. But right now, I'm not too worried about having the first person I meet be upset with me, especially if they're far enough away.
The caged bird
on my back door
watches butterflies
not on my back door. Now, that may
with
take
envy.
Very quickly, but it's not true right now, so we're going to go ahead and do what we do. Alright, so this, let's take a look here. This is actually our capital, so we can get the sheep if we build out this other way. So we're going to go ahead and build out this other way. We'll probably do something like stick a monument here or something so that we can do another quick grab. I do like to get this plus 3 combat strength, but in this current game we don't really need it. So let's take the gold. If we were under threat right now from an independent city-state or something, we would definitely take that extra warrior stuff, even though we have no warriors yet. So the debate here is whether or not to go pottery first and then masonry. And I think we can go masonry first in this instance. It's gonna take us a while, but masonry gives us a +1 to all production, I think. Production on mines and quarries, so that's mostly going to be on our rough terrain. So we're only going to get a little bit from that. But then we're going to get the secondary, the leaf tech from that, which gives +1 on all of our production structures, which at that point we're probably going to have a brickyard or a sawmill or 2. And it's going to be really, really beneficial to us to get that extra hammer just for doing the thing we want to do anyway, which is study technologies. I'm a little sleepy. It's kind of late. 9:39. Oh, probably gonna have to stop at 10. I messed up this morning. I had turned off my alarm the day before because I woke up significantly before my alarm. I was wide awake, so I just got up and turned off my alarm. But then I never turned it back on again. So this morning I woke up, was having a nice little, not sleeping, but just a nice little, I don't have to get up yet. And then I just had this spider sense go off where I was like, wait a minute, I should be up by now. Like this feels like it's time for me to get up. And sure enough, I had gone half an hour over what I'm supposed to go. I'm going mysticism first just because we get that special thing where we get 2 pantheons. And the pantheon's kind of silly because it only works in the cities that have altars in them. But it's going to be really good stuff when we get our altars. I'm going to go ahead and go for the building thing. Going to get culture. That's going to get us to get mysticism a bit faster. Hopefully. Hey. There's our friend, Mr. What's his name? Xerxes. That's one of his cities at least. So we can't build another settler until we turn 5 in Pailaputra, I believe. We'll check it. We'll check that here in just a moment. We can get a bunch of gold, or we can save our influence, which we do want to do, and we can get just a little bit of gold. So yeah, now is a good time. Hey, look, it's already letting us build our Nagarika. Oh, because we have like a narrative event or something that gives us extra food, I think. Or, oh, we finished our granary. I think when you finish your granary, you get a little bit up. So the question basically is, do we spend 6 turns making the saw pit so that we can make our Nagarika like maybe in 5 turns instead of 6? Now I think we're going to make our first Nagarika first because we do have somebody over here that may be interested in forward settling us a little bit. One of the things I always like to do is do one of my moves as a normal move and then do the explore action. We've got lots of great land to settle to over here. I'm going to try to get close to the enemy over here just to see if I can get sort of a maximum pierce of my scan before they get too entrenched. I didn't scan there because you can't see around mountains. Well, you can see around them, you can't see through them, I guess is more the way to say that. Oh look, there's a goody hut. Oh look! Madam! Madam! They've come for the lifeboats or something or other. Reveals no.
Simplement, citoyen Lafayette, s'il vous plaît.
No, we don't. Go away with your silly pets. Napoleon. What the hell? I'm going to do a search. Got lots of these little coastal edifices. You really can't do anything with those until you've got seafaring happening. And I'm not doing that right now. I'll go ahead and open borders, and then that, in effect, gives me 2 extra gold per turn. Why not? So now's a great time to buy something. I could buy a warrior, I could buy a slinger, but I'm not under threat, so I'm not going to. No real reason. We're going to try to make friends with Babylon. Mostly just because they're the only friend we can be friends with. Be friendly with me. I always like to see, personally, I like to see economic city-states, then cultural city-states, and then science city-states. Then there's also military ones, which,
close to
in
the
certain
western
situations they can be
side.
great, because usually what they do is they give you a free unit. And sometimes a free unit can be everything towards staving off an early aggressive opponent, or can be pretty critical in making sure that you can absorb another opponent that is egregiously settled near you. We can still buy stuff. We can get to the point where we can just flat out buy a saw pit. That'd be nice. That's the sound of death. Let's see here. I don't like to settle in these flooded areas. I mean, because I feel like the game is telling me, don't do it. Don't settle here. But I am going to settle towards Xerxes because I want to get in a big fight. No, it seems to me that the early game in this game is about grabbing as much territory as you can. Also, it's good to spread your cities out. And to that end, if I can build a city right here, I discourage him from making another one in this area. And I guarantee that I get all of these tiles to myself. And then I can also squeeze another city in over here somewhere. So, 8 turns, or take 6 and get a little bit more hammers. We'll do 6 and get a little bit more hammers. We'll go ahead and do this thing. So if we do that thing, we get to immediately... Oh no, one thing I forgot. So about population bouncing. You can't population bounce from the tile that you made to the next tile over, because you have to already have a population working the area near that thing. So like this worked here because I already had a thing here, so that meant that I would be able to choose between any of these spaces. But because I don't have anybody working this zone, I actually kind of stabbed myself in the foot here a little bit. So let's try this. I'm going to do this just to see if it works this way. So then I can grow the city, right? Oh no, we demolished. Even though we are no longer building that quarter, we basically demolished the one that we already had. So that is problematic, but we're learning things. Let's go ahead and just get over here, grab that wine then. And we'll go ahead and... Oh, hey, give us... Oh, that's weird. It gave us 2 growths. Oh no, we had 1 growth already. So we'll go ahead and stick that old saw pit back. Oh, I wonder. Actually, let's check that out. What happens? Well, I won't. There is a. We'll do this for science. We're gonna put the saw. Oh, it only lets us put it where we already put it. Okay. I was gonna try to put the saw pit somewhere else and let it just to see if it would let us, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way, buddies. It doesn't work that way. That's the first time I've ever played with that. So I've had the game for a while, and that's the first time I've done that weird thing. Or thought to do that weird thing. Again, the value of this Nagarika is that once the settlement that he founded, which will be a town, once it turns into a city, it'll get a bonus +2 just for being made with the Nagarika. +2 happiness, that is. And that just makes us more likely to withstand a little bit of tanks to our happiness. A little bit of stuff that would make our people or citizens upset at any time whatsoever. Oh no. Oh no, Xerxes had the same idea as us. Well, now that changes our plan just a little bit. What is the most important resource? We can get tons of iron. If we go here, we could, or we could just kind of encroach upon Xerxes by going here, and then we still could. I don't like any of these city spots. I guess here's good. We still guarantee that we can get this silk when we're ready. The things like silk, incense, and the like, they tend to be, you know, they're scaling resources is what I call them, because in the early game they're only going to give you maybe like 1 culture, 1 science, and in the early game 1 culture, 1 science.
There is another world,
matter. But
it is in this
one. As the game progresses, that's when the real joy sets in. Because that 10% can get to be a big number once you're producing a lot of culture and or knowledge in your cities. I do like priesthood a whole lot, but we currently don't have any actual settlements down, so it doesn't really do anything at the moment. We shall go ahead and gain ourselves a bodhisattva. Oh, I'm tired. It's about time to go to bed. We're going for this one. Gives us a free army commander. We're still making that building. Ooh, let's get some extra hammers to make that building. Alright, we get 2 of our pantheons. So, stone circles is great. And then God of the Sun. Those are my favorites. There are definitely reasons why you do other ones. I can't tell you really how or why I would do them. I know those are the 2 that I like, and they're almost always the ones that I pick. I did try a game with the fishing boats. I did not like that game. For other reasons, though. I think the fishing boat plan was nice. It just, other things happened in that game that made it very difficult. One of the things that sucks about coastal cities in this game is that barbarians do come along, and they do come along pretty quick with boats, and boats are resilient, and they get to attack you a lot. So it can be a sort of a big problem to have some pirate boats on your borders, just like taking pot shots at your units, messing with your stuff. It's all sorts of stuff that makes them very, very annoying. So what we learned earlier is that if I were to put an altar here, that does not make me able to build out to this area over here. As a matter of fact, it makes me have to build kind of around. So we're not really going to try to build out with that. We're going to just go for where we can get the most happiness, culture, and science, and that is right here, boyos and girls. Right here, we get an extra culture and science. We get some good happiness, good stuff. Although I don't think I'm actually going to build that yet. I'm going to go ahead and build a second Nagarika first. Got to be prioritizing the settlement. It allows you to exert your control over different parts of the map, and also it just guarantees you're bringing in steady stream of money, steady stream of other stuff. You're doing that thing where you can eventually make yourselves another city, which cities just function as basically production lines. That's what they are. You know, they are responsible for producing most of your culture and science as well, but giving you something useful to do with your hammers is everything cities are for. When you've got a town, your hammers are converted straight into gold. So the city just makes, or this town makes 3 gold because it's got 3 hammers. It might have some resources in it that give it a little bit of boost to its gold. Generally speaking, what I like to do is I like to build my saw pits, or to just buy my saw pits. That's basically going to give me 1 extra gold per turn, and that will theoretically increase over time. Because it's a warehouse building. That's what they do. Yeah,
he was the first to
masonry. Oh, right, fantastic. That means everybody just got a little bit of extra hammers. We'll go ahead and do masonry 2. It's going to make this sawmill produce a little bit more. That's going to make my sawmill and pine future produce a little bit more, which is going to mean, in general, good things across our burgeoning empire. Do we want to make friends? We don't have any more city-states.
Niccolò Machiavelli, per servirvi. In qual modo potrete voi servire me? Intendete?
What's going to happen here, I think, is it's going to become very clear to us pretty soon who we want to be our friend. And I think, since he's so close to us and we do not want to go to war, I think Xerxes is our friend. Oh no, I opened borders to him, and he said no, he doesn't want anything to do with it. But he's fine with doing a farmer's market, so what's the deal there, Xerxes? Why you gotta be so mean? Why you gotta be such a Xerxes, Xerxes? I just used his name as an insult. Oh, I'm so sleepy. Hey look, there's a military city-state right on my back door. I didn't even notice that there, though I've probably known about it the whole dang time. I just wasn't paying attention. So soupy. So in a moment, we're going to be at an impasse. We're going to make a relatively important decision. We're going to go ahead and take this kaolin. Kaolin is not one of my favorite resources. It's only a food resource, but it's one of those good ones that doubles when you use it in a city that is not your capital. So that does make it kind of a powerhouse resource. It's just a shame that it's not gypsum, because gypsum is so much better. Gypsum is so much better. So our decision is going to be whether or not to make another Nagarika. And I do think that the answer to that question, posed by me in this very moment, is yes. We need to try and expand our borders a little bit. Maybe we'll try to hem Xerxes in by settling over here. Seems like a good plan. We're trying to be his friend, but we're trying to be his friend in a very huggy, overbearing way. I think he's going to grow with time to not be very appreciative of it. Much like most people would do. Yeah, we'll gladly go one over our settlement limit here. We do also need to start making military. Things are about to start going very wrong as the computer thinks we look tastier and tastier, which they tend to do.
Do nothing which is of no use.
There we go. We got our army commander. Send him down here because that's where conflict is likely to occur. Get our gypsum online if we can. Give us one more time of growth. We're going to try to boost our early growth here, get second mysticism. Do we get the hang? Mundo Perdido. Mundo Perdido. Lost world? Is that what that means? I think that's what that means. Mundo Perdido. Help, help! Ayuda, ayuda! I perdido mi mundo. I lost the world. The world. Oh my goodness, we've got battle coming, so let's go ahead and capture ourselves a slinger. We shall purchase a slinger. So when you see aggressors coming, it is usually a good sign that you need to buy yourself some units. Sure, let's take 3,000.
All are made of clay.
Oh, look, now we got pottery. We had skipped that one. And so it's nice that we now got it for free. We just gained ourselves probably like 3 or 4 turns of science, basically, by doing that. So, be friendly citizens. So, I produce quite a bit of happiness of my own. And none of my cities, none of my towns are in danger on this front. So, we don't need happiness. We can use the extra influence. That's one of the things I do actually kind of like about this game, is that you can do this thing where you be a Mr. Nice Guy and doing all the stuff, or you get something else. Even when you don't do the trade agreement or whatever, you get something for it, and it may be something, and it's something different too. It's not just you either get 3 food or 6 food. You get, either some food or some gold, or you get some this or a little bit of that instead. So it's very nice. It's a very nice expression of giving the user some meaningful choices. Although this game is full of a lot of very, very tiny nudges that, while they may feel meaningful, are oftentimes not as impactful as they feel in the moment. It's very fun.
He was the first to construct a wall.
Contradictory thing, very strangely at odds. So we're getting us in here. Maybe we should come down here, because we've got this. This zone I think is probably better. Yeah, because we'll get 3 really powerful resources if we settle here sooner rather than later. And hopefully we'll get a little technology or something. Oh yeah, irrigation. Irrigation is your first technology that gives you, as far as I know, the increased settlement limit, which that'll be nice, because then we can go ahead and make a 5th settlement. But this slinger might just die. You know what I'm going to do to try and prevent that death? See if anybody wants Candy military alliance. Or military there. Oh, maybe I can't propose it yet. Because I haven't done the right technologies. What's interesting about this game is that the AI can propose things with you. And you know, I would be able to propose them too if I had studied the right text, but oftentimes the AI is going to be doing certain things sort of ahead of schedule or ahead of where you might be. Oh my gosh, there is a freaking army over here. I'm backing up because I will die if I don't back up. Let's do some damage to that slinger. We should bring our general out so he can actually get some experience. Get this gypsum online, which is great. It's another one of those resources that's better when it's not in the capital, but guess what? We can't put anything... Oh yeah, I haven't talked about this before, but you've got city resources and bonus resources. Bonus resources can actually be applied to a town. Fat load of good they do, though. Let's say this was a bonus +2 plus food. We'd stick this here, and it's really only giving us the +2 food. The +2 hammers is converted into gold, which still counts for something, but it's not as good as 2 hammers would be actually towards producing something, making a unit, making a building, making another settler, which is a thing that I would like to do at some point. But anyway, it has come to pass that it is bedtime for the little Kermit on the street. So, we only have one place building, so I picked Patti LaPutra to get a +15% in production. We're going for this roll very quickly. But yeah, otherwise, in other words, it is time for me to go to sleep. So, let's try offering again. Oh no. So when you fail, it sucks because you don't lose the influence cost, but you do make them upset. We are not ready to fight a 2-front war right now, because that's in effect what would happen. We'd have this barbarian war over here, and then we'd have Xerxes attacking on the other flank, and it would just be over so fast it's not funny. As a matter of fact, I think that's what's going to happen here, more than likely. But I'm going to go now. Thank you for joining. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and see more Civilization 7 content.